Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. I'm excited to have John Hart with me today. Hart at work. He is one of the elite, in my mind, top 35 under 35. We're going to learn about what that means. He's a real estate professional. He's got a great story. We were laughing before we went live that our lives are crazy, but you got to figure out how to manage it. You got to understand your industry. We're going to talk about that as well. Welcome, John. How you doing today, buddy?
Doing great. Thank you for having me, Ted.
I'm excited to have you. Very patient. I have to give you thanks for that too, because I had to reschedule because of my Oompa Loompa issues. But I am very excited to have you on the show, and I want to take a deep dive. So, I
Absolutely.
told you before we went live that the audience loves an origin story. They want to know about you. I'm sure you didn't come out of the womb and start talking about real estate transactions. So, they maybe you did. I've had people say yes, I did. But give us a little 411 on your background and kind of how you got to be in the real estate world.
Yeah, so it was pretty interesting. To be very blunt, I never saw myself being a realtor, just point blank and simple. After I graduated college, I jumped into software sales and moved out to Denver for a couple years. And right before the pandemic hit, I realized really Denver's not where I want to settle down and build a business. And my roommate at the time was a commercial real estate broker, and I was super excited and loved talking with him about that. However, I kind of found out that commercial didn't make the most financial sense for me at the time, but found myself back here in Orlando. And that's when the pandemic hit and everything kind of just shut down and everyone's freaking out about the real estate market. But I was like leaning into it and pretty excited. I was like, oh, I see a really awesome opportunity with this. And long story short, I reached out to a friend that I knew was an agent, and he asked me to come sit in on the Dan Group Home to Sell team's morning meeting, and sat in. And at that moment, I knew, I guess I'm selling real estate. This is the room I need to be in, and just started volunteering with the team for a couple months until I joined in as an ISA for about 6 months. So didn't really see it coming, but ran
You
with it
haven't looked
afterwards.
back. You haven't looked back.
I haven't
Tell
looked
us
back.
about the. I love to talk about with newer. You're younger. Sorry, everybody's younger than me, but you have obviously real estate experience. I think a lot of people watch TV, the different shows that are on TV, and they look at real estate as this incredibly glamorous, high glitz, private jets, lots of champagne. Tell them the reality of it as far as especially when you're starting out. You really do have to roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty.
Absolutely. So, like I said, my background was software sales. I was a business development rep, which was like the equivalent to an inside sales agent in real estate. And so, just having that background, I knew it would be advantageous for me to take a step back and just focus strictly on lead generation. Because I was like, all right, well, if I can master this, that's how I know I can get new business. So I was fine with, not working my deals. I was, shadowing a lot, but just a lot of calling and really hammered in on that. But as I kind of transitioned into a full-time agent, I was stubborn. I really wanted to hit the ground full speed. And one of my mentors just told me, like, you can absolutely accelerate the process. The average agent might do one open house a month. I did six. Worked 7 days a week. And, it wasn't glamorous the first year. It was a grind. It was day in and day out. The days blurred together. Um, yeah, it was fun. But that's what just I thought was necessary. I wanted to get up to speed as quickly as possible. And if I, like I said, if I one agent's doing one open house, like I wanted to triple that just so I could have that same more experience in less amount of
Well,
time.
build your sphere, right? I mean
Mhm.
that the event that we just did today, mastering the open house. I think back to basics, which we talked about before we went live. I think you have to figure out, okay, how am I going to build my sphere? What if I don't have one? How am I going to build it? At some point, your friends and family run out at the beginning. And so you have to find ways, whether it be cold calling, which is not for me, door knocking, which I know there's people who swear by it, open houses. You have to find something that begins to build that. Because if you're just sitting at the office waiting and hoping for it to happen, there's plenty of other people out there grinding and hustling faster than you. So I love that you said that because I think it's so important for people to understand. You do have to build that sphere. Like I grew up here. I went to junior high, high school, and college here, and I've lived here since I was 11. My sphere is a natural sphere of being 900 years old and knowing everybody in the city. Somebody new in the business has to figure it out outside of their friends and family, and I figure out how to build it. So I
Absolutely.
love that you worked those because there's a lot of naysayers in the business that say open houses are dead. That's a door knocking's dead. Phone calls are dead. But you found that all of that proactivity and doing twice, three, six times more than the other agent was key for you.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I always say to people is like, I fix problems, I don't create problems.
I love
So
that.
all I had to really do was just go out and talk to a lot of people. And hey, if you had an issue, like, let me help make your life easier at the end of the day. And if you don't have a problem, great, I'm not going to create one for you.
So good.
Even if it's just something simple as, oh, do you need somebody to get referred over for an electrician or something? Just, make people's lives easier at the end of the day. And just, it's crazy what can kind of ripple out from that, just doing good and spreading good.
I'm so glad you brought that up because one of the things that I think is successful people do is they're the point of contact no matter what the question is. So you said electrician. It could be I get calls for restaurants. It doesn't matter what the need is. I want to be the first person or one of the first people that they think of no matter what's going on, because that is a beautiful thing when you're trying to stay top of mind. And then eventually at some point that will pay off in some way, shape, or form. You'll get the referral or you'll get the, oh my God, yeah, John just hooked me up with an electrician. He's a realtor. You should call him. That kind of stuff really does happen. So I'm glad that you brought that up. Let's talk about the market really quick. We talked It's Not Chicken Little before we went live. Tell us your feelings on what's going on in the market and how have you shifted away from 900 cash offers, $50 million over asking price to the more stabilized, what I like to call market that we're in right now.
Well, the funny thing I always like to say is like, success is not what you do, it's who you become in the process. And like who you have to become in the process to actually achieve a goal or be able to stay current and keep moving. That's the exciting part for me as well. I like finding a way to win. And one thing we say on our team is like, winners find a way to win. So even with the conditions changing, like the goal still stays the same. Like I'm here to help families make a difference and just ultimately make lives easier. So, with the market shift, I really wasn't too intimidated by it. It was just, okay, great. Like back to the basics, writing your scripts, practicing your scripts, getting your language down, consulting and advising and just being direct with them. I don't want to sugarcoat it because at the end of the day, I'm not going to set the wrong expectations for them as well and give them false hope or anything like that. This is a situation. This is what we got to do to get it done. And we're going to find a way to win and make it work and ultimately get them set up. So, it is what it is. I think we were in a hyperinflated market. And if everyone thought that was going to be the case forever, I was like, no, life has changed.
No way it was going to shift. It was. It always does. In my experience, it does. It eventually begins to level out. And then there's other pops of it. We're going to have other pops of it in the future. I know it. We're going to have other things that are crazy in the market, no doubt in my mind. But I feel like this has just kind of brought back some normalcy, if there's such a word when it comes to
we're freaking out about a house being on the market for 3 weeks. And it's like, whoa. I'm like, okay.
I know.
Yeah, don't worry.
And I get it with the interest rates as lenders. We had it. It was so great. Money was cheap. You borrow it. I mean, to borrow money was a very inexpensive thing when the interest rates were lower. But that, like you said, that was never going to last forever. And there had to be a shift. There had to be a correction. Some people call it a correction. I just like to use the word shift. Let's talk about top 35 under 35. Tell the audience who might not know what that is, what that relates to. And then let's talk. I love it when younger entrepreneurs share some of their tips on what they do to reach the goal that you've reached, which is top 35 under 35.
Yeah, absolutely. So top 35 under 35 to me, really, I just applied for it kind of as hey, this might work out, this might not, but you won't know unless you try. And so, how I kind of interpret it all was just, celebrating progress at the end of the day. 35 individuals that have, really stepped up their business and are really trying to make a difference in the community and just recognizing them and celebrating progress ultimately. It's been cool. I really wasn't expecting it, but taking it with stride, and it's just something fun to bring up every once in a while. But
it's a big deal. You all deserve. I mean, it is a big deal. It's an honor to be top 35 under 35, but it's also reflective of the work that you've put in.
Yeah, it was a cool little win because I definitely wasn't gunning for that when I first got into my first year last year, and to seeing that kind of pay off, I was like, all right, this is pretty rad. Like, I can't complain. But in regards to the tips, like I said, the biggest thing for me is just I'm stubborn. So I was like, I'm going to accelerate the process. Like I want to be at the skill level of somebody who's been in the industry for years within a year. And even if I come up short, I know I've probably gone a lot farther than just setting a mediocre goal. So really just put in the time. It's time on task over time. You have to do the reps just like anything in life. One thing I always like to kind of relate it to is fitness is like you have to put in the repetitions. You have to be engaged. You have to be playing on the field and doing your job at the end of the day. Taking a day off or two here and there and skipping lead generation or cutting it an hour short here and there just doesn't cut it. You just have to make sure that you're hitting what you need to hit, getting what you need to get done, and just let that compound. And then eventually the dam broke. And I remember I had, a couple months where I didn't get any contracts, and then I had like just a bunch, and it was just like, wow, this is wild. But the dam broke, and then you get into momentum, and just it's crazy how it kind of all
and the consistency, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
you're consistent in I can tell you're consistent in your processes, your follow up. We have a little bit of an emergency going on. It's not me, it's downstairs. But I feel like that's such a key, consistency and understanding, measuring, accountability, really trying to get to the basics because I was talking with someone where they were spending so much money and time on 10, 12 different things that were more passive. And what you're talking about is the basics, really doing the work, following up on the work, being consistent with the work. Exercise is against my religion, but I did appreciate your analogy there because that's true. You can't. You have to continue if you want to continue to build and you want to maintain. And especially when you having those processes in place when the floodgates opened was critical. It's not like I'm sure you didn't all of a sudden stop. Oh, I just had all these deals come in. I'm not going to do any of my processes that I've done up to this point. It's all good. It's all going to flow forever. I am sure you did not do that.
No, I didn't think I earned the right. I mean, being so new in the business, I'm like, why am I taking time off? Like we got things to do. We got people to help,
All right. Before we head out, I like to ask a personal question always.
Of course.
But it's, not to worry, not that personal. But when I say the word hero, who's the first person who comes to mind for you?
That's a great question. Probably my grandpa, honestly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
He's just, and pardon my French, he's a total badass, just he came, like, his story is just so empowering and beautiful. At the end of the day, he came from a really poor family and just made things happen. He got a full-blown diving scholarship to Purdue, and he was going to go to the Olympics but that year they ended up actually boycotting the United States ended up boycotting the Olympics, so he wasn't able to attend. Jumped into the military, ended up becoming a Navy pilot, but dove further into becoming a Navy test pilot. So he was doing all the classified flying behind the scenes. Funny story about that, actually. His roommate in flight school was Jim Lovell from Apollo 13. So,
wow.
Yeah. So my mom used to go feed their dog upstairs while they'd study in the closet and everything. But just seeing that, just you can really live the life of your dreams and anything's possible. And I think that's something he really instilled in my brain at a young age and just makes me excited about life always. Like, anything really is possible. You can make that happen. Like, dream big and, overshoot, because you'd be surprised. Like, shoot your shot. Yeah.
I love that story. All right, John, what's the best way they can find you, reach you, learn more if they want to buy or sell, if they've got one of those things going on, real estate?
One of those things. I might be able to
tell them the best way they can find you.
So I'm working on developing my social media presence, but right now, if you guys want to find me, I'm on Instagram at John Hart at Work. And then also you can just get in touch with me via my cell phone as well. So
wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. You were a joy to have on, my friend. Thank you so much for taking time. All of you out there who are watching and you want to learn more, John's also an open book. I'm sure you could reach out to him.
Oh, I'm happy to help.
It's good. It's good to bounce off when somebody's got the plans in place and actually is working them. John, you're a joy. Thank you so much, my friend, for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right.